So here we are. Nobody understands my pain. Nobody understands what I'm going through. I'm hurting because people keep asking when, and nobody truly understand that it's not something that I have control over. How many times have you sat with your good girlfriend and you've heard some of these sentiments you've heard? I've said this because there was a time when I did not have children, and so today I want to talk about women that are suffering in silence, women that are battling with reproductive illnesses in the church and outside the church, but particularly in the church, that are marginalized and made to feel less than a wife or less than a woman because you've been married for 5 or 6 or 8 or 9 or 10 years and your relationship has not produced fruit. What people on the outside don't know is there can be an ongoing process. There could be something underlining. And it's not necessarily that this sister, my sister, or me, because I went through it, didn't want to have a child. It was that my body was not cooperating with the will of God at that time. And so what I had to do was I had to know my image. Who am I in God? I had to realize that I'm a daughter, and being a daughter of God, there is certain privileges that come with being a daughter. And so I had to backtrack and go to my daddy and be like, Jesus, I need you in this moment. I need you to bless my womb. I need you to open up my womb because, I mean, no shade to the doctors. They went to school, they did what they're supposed to do, but you are the chief physician. You are the great I am that I am. And I'm holding fast to your word that says, whose report do you believe? And I'm standing on, we shall believe the report of the Lord. And so there's sisters out there that I've encountered that says, you know what, Jackie, I'm really believing God for a child, but sometimes they go through the battlefield of the mind because people let them feel less than themselves. Like, oh, so when do y'all plan to have kids? Can we do a favor? Can we do something for 2023 and beyond? Can we stop asking people when you're going to have a child? I think it is callous and it is insensitive for you to approach someone and the first thing you're going to ask, or the leading question after the question of greeting or after meeting them, is, so how come y'all don't have no babies yet? You don't know what the woman is going through. You don't know if she has fibroids. You don't know if she has endometriosis. You don't know if she has polycystic ovarian syndrome. You don't know if she's going through miscarriages. You don't know. And so we can be so insensitive to others, insensitive to people's privacy, people's health, privacy. And this is something that's prevalent in the church. I'm not talking about your workplace. I'm not talking about the club. I'm not talking about, you know, outside with your group of friends. I'm talking about in the church, in the body of Christ, in the kingdom. Women are being marginalized, are being made to feel less than themselves because they have not given their husband a child. And I'm not talking about the woman that says, I won't have a child. To each his own. That's not the basis I'm standing on today. I'm standing up for the sisters who genuinely, willing, wholeheartedly would love to have a child, but the circumstances beyond their control has not enabled them to bear forth seed. And so they're suffering in silence. They're tearing up on the inside. They're crying tears that you don't see, but it's flooding their souls like a river. But yet, they wear a smile. They wear a smile because the pain cuts so deep. If you see the wound that's oozing in their body spiritually from this hurt that they are feeling, you yourself will probably like cringe. You will cringe. It's cringe worthy. but they put on a facade or a mask. And so, shout out to my sister Ty, with the Unmask series. I think that's a great initiative right there, unmasking. Today, I want to talk about that segment of women, this group of women that are hurting in silence. Today, I want to touch hearts with you. I want to agree with you to let you know, like, sister, it's hard. It's hard because nobody understands what you're going through sometimes. It's hard every Mother's Day when you see everybody posting pictures of their child or their pregnancy and you don't know how it feels. It hurts when a mother in law or a sister in law looks down on you because you haven't brought forth seed. It hurts when you've tried and you've tried and you've tried, and it really feels like God has forgotten you. It really feels sometimes like He doesn't love you. But can I tell you something? It's not that God has forgotten you, it's not that God doesn't love you. It's a process. Sometimes some of us have to go through this process to build a message in the midst of all the mess that's going on. And I say mess because it a mess is something that's without your control, and it sometimes comes with confusion, and sometimes that's how it feels when you go through reproductive illnesses in your body. It feels like a whole mess because you have no control over what's going on in your body. You can't control it. I remember a season where I was experiencing fibroids, and I just, warning, about to get graphic a little bit. I just bled, and nobody understood that pain. When you're not menstruating, but you still have to wear a sanitary napkin. Like, how do you put that into words? How do you explain that? I remember, when I met my husband, having to have a conversation with him like, hey, I've gone through so many reproductive illnesses in my life and I'm still going through it. There is a high probability that we will not be able to have children in this relationship. And I needed to know how you feel about that, because I don't want to lock you into something. And then after we've done been married and everything, then I unleashed a whole can of worm on you. And so we had to come to the conclusion. He looked me in the eye, which was a beautiful moment. And he said, we're going to pray. That's the first response. We're going to pray and we're going to believe God according to his word. And he said, if it's not God's will that you don't have a child, we can adopt, And then he alluded to, he said, you know what? God blessed me with a child before we got married, and she could be your child and we could grow as our own. And that gave me some form of a little ounce of a consolation, but not enough because as a woman, you'd still want to bear your own seed. What am I saying to you today? Don't lose hope. What am I saying to you today? You're not alone. As much as you feel like you're alone and nobody understands your pain, you're not alone. It's thousands, if not millions, of us out there that's going through this. And because we're going through this, know that we're keeping you in prayer. We're going to lift you up. We're going to continue to intercede for you and trust God to work it out.